Hi, everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal, and we are live on a Friday lunchtime, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with feelings. And I'm hoping you all had a great week, and certainly you're going to hear about mine. So, if you have any updates or anything that you wish to discuss with us, make sure you let me know. And this is Hi, Jenny. Good to see you. Jeannie's saying that it started snowing there about 4 a.m. and it has not stopped. It fell way back from getting the newspaper. Oh, fell on the way back from getting the newspaper, but you're okay. A bit sore. Well, I want to tell you one of the things that I am going to talk about is the incredible weather we've been having here in southern British Columbia, Jeannie. We had, over this week, I think over a foot, which for us is, six times what I would normally expect. So you can imagine it's been a pretty tough time. But before we get into that, just wanted to say that we'll be talking about the continued sort of Arctic outflow that's happening here, but also an amazing find. I had a really good unboxing this week, and I also had a really great find that is so exciting to me. And also, just to tell you that unfortunately, as the heaviest snow came, my snow elf, who's been clearing my driveway for me, he went home. So I wrote to my neighbor and said, "Tell him all is forgiven. Please come back." You know. So hi there to Jody, and for those of you who don't know, Jody is our admin, and she does a lot of the research for us while we're online and looks after us generally. So that is awesome. I'm just getting the whiteboard ready and a marker because we nearly always end up using it. There we go. And let's get on with the show, as I say. For those of you who don't know, Dear Mama Sal is not just me. It's a group of people who get together 3 times a week. And we share on Friday lunchtime, we share our feelings. So for those of you who are in the chat or watching on the in the shadows there, if you had one word to describe your feelings this week, what would they be? As I said, I think mine one word would be excited because there were a number of things that excited me this week. We're a group of people who get together. We talk about feelings on a Friday lunchtime. We talk about life on a Friday evening. And then on Sunday afternoon, we talk about coping with stress. We all have to cope with all of those things. And perhaps the biggest lesson for us all to know is if it is a feeling, you have control of it if you choose to. you know so think about that. If it is a feeling that you have, it is within your control. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but that's a tough pill to swallow when you want to have a pity party. But it did change my life from being somebody that got depressed, especially in the wintertime, into somebody that doesn't. And and somebody who would suffered from panic attacks, and now somebody who doesn't. So I look at it and go, I don't know about the rest of you, but it was difficult to accept that it was under my control. But once I owned it, it changed my life. And I'm pretty sure that Jody will agree with me on that one because I've noticed with Jody things that, she might have had feelings about a couple of years ago. Now I can hear that she has the feelings, but she knows what they are. She deals with it and then gets on with living, which is really important if you're somebody who suffers from any illness or anything. It's like, yes, we know that we get sick. And by the way, you can probably hear I've got a cold now. And that's not surprising when you think about the weather that we've had. Um, so please excuse me as I cough, sniff, and fight my way through through the broadcast. Jeannie's saying she's feeling exhausted. York had an eye appointment and found out that his eye is still swollen. Wow. So you got to give him drops 3 times a day in both eyes. Now, for those of you who don't know Jeannie and York, her husband, Jeannie is not the world's most patient nurse. And apparently York is not the world's best patient. And so for her to have to put drops in his eyes 3 times a day, it's going to be painful for her. Now, I know some of you are saying, why doesn't he put them in himself? He's a man. Why would he do that when somebody else can do it for him? Um, I thought this was a great quote. The quotes that I've got for you today are all about new beginnings because we've got a new year. And the first one was from Muhammad Ali, the boxer. And he said, don't be afraid to take the first step. And so what is it that you have on your, this is what I'd like to do this year list? It's not no, and I don't want you to think about anything other than, taking one step at a time. And I'm going to be talking about my one next step. Oh, yep. For this season, I try to work on one major project each season if I can. And you're going to hear how long it took me to plan it and where I'm at with it at the moment as well. And for those of you who don't know, I am not a psychiatrist, psychologist, anything with a piece of paper. Any opinions that you may hear are mine alone, either from living a long time or else from, doing research and doing stuff like that. So just know that to be true. Any decisions you make will be your own if you're an adult. So just before we start today's broadcast, I wanted to give you some updates because I asked a number of people if they had any updates for me. The first one who did was Andrea from Germany. For those of you who remember Andrea, she got a new puppy. And she sent me 2 clips of puppies playing, her puppy and another one, that I thought were just delightful. And if any of you would like to see them, just write to me at DearMamaSal@gmail.com. And Jody, please remind me to follow up on that to check to see if anybody has asked. And I will send the link on to you because she said I could share it. But it was just like, talk about, watching 2 puppies play. Is there anything more delightful than to watch that? I got an update from Charlotte. For those of you who know Charlotte, she lives in Eastern Canada, and she is on a mission to go out and spend half an hour in the fresh air every single day for a whole year. Now, I need to tell you, she does not live in British Columbia, where the weather is pretty decent most of the time. She lives in Eastern Canada, where, I'm certain the snowfall is way worse than mine. So it's with great joy that I tell you that Charlotte told me she is now on day 262 of 365. And I think that is amazing. And every single day, rain, shine, illness, health, whatever, she has gone out and spent half an hour outside doing something. And by the way, she inspires me to do the same. Every day I have a segment of my day, which is, have you been out? And I go out, and it doesn't matter what I do, whether I clean up outside in my garden, shovel snow, take the garbage out to the, do whatever. It doesn't matter what I do, just have I gone outside for half an hour every day. And I really make a big point of that being one of my segments of the day. Jody is saying, it's a pleasure. She's saying, thanks for your help. I was talking about the fact that being aware that your feelings are under your control. And she said, thanks for your help, Sal. It was a game changer being able to reduce that turnaround time with feelings. Yes. Hi, Charlotte. I was just talking about you. And congratulating you. And Charlotte, thank you for inspiring me. Your, get outside every day has inspired me. And I haven't got the same track record as you has, Charlotte, but I must tell you that it is absolutely part of my daily program is to get outside and get some fresh air. So thank you so much. I haven't heard from Kimmy, just so that you know. I have heard from Erin. Erin's told me that she is trying to get into another house. She's had some problems in the house where she is. For those of you who don't know, Um, Erin is bedridden, so having a good environment where she lives is really important for her, really important. And she's had some problems in the house that she's living in at the moment. Um, and she believes that she's been getting sick, since that kidney stone surgery. She's had trouble swallowing food and things like that. So she obviously is in need of some more attention. And she told me, because she is somebody who puts on her big girl pants and gets things checked out, she said she's going to be getting checked out and have an X-ray to see what's going on. The other thing is she still hasn't got approval to get her new wheelchair, which again is really important for her because, as you know, most of her body is something she cannot control, and she has use of one hand, and her face certainly still moves. I had the pleasure of meeting Erin face to face, literally, and I lay down on the bed with her and chatted with her. Um, and it's one of my fondest memories of doing Dear Mama Sal is going down and meeting her and her father, God bless his soul. Um, Brian, it was just, a wonderful experience in my life. So I also got an update from Bernice. For those of you who know Bernice, she said she's been doing okay for the most part. She's been in Oregon with her mother-in-law um, for a big reunion on their side. So that's when I know I put the word big in there for a reunion on her side of the family. They're just doing the best they can at the moment. They're still waiting on the house in Texas. She's planning to move. She's in Washington at the moment, planning to move to Texas. And for those of you who might have missed it and are old like myself, I heard that Sir Sidney Poitier died, and he was 94. And, I'm pretty certain you will all know that he was the first person of color to ever win an Oscar. Um, and it's just like, that is incredible. What an incredible life he had as an actor and as a activist and as a human being. And just, so sad that he's passed, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family. If there are any other updates that I should know about, the only birthday that I know about is one that's passed, which was, of course, Nyasha's on the 1st. So if I have missed anybody, please let me know at dearmamasal@gmail.com so that I can add it to our database. Yeah, Jeannie's saying the same thing. What an amazing actor and an amazing person. Yes, he was more than just a great actor. He was a great person in general. All right. Did anybody have any feelings of making a difference this week? Did you feel that you did anything that made a difference in somebody else's life this week? Did you feel anything made a difference in your life this week? Did somebody do something nice for you? And if so, start typing while I talk about something that happened to me so that we can use up that time. And before I do, it was said that the secret to a rich life is to have more beginnings than endings. Think about that. Having a rich life is that you keep beginning new things, that you keep having something to look forward to by beginning something, not that you're always, well, I've been there, done that. Find things that challenge you. Find a new game to play if you play games online, something that challenges your brain. Find a new person to meet, and I'll be talking a little bit about that in a moment. But it's all about, how are you challenging your brain? Remember, if you don't use it, you will lose it, especially at my age. Um, I tell you something that's made a difference in my life, and I just wanted to check whether you all know that. You do know that washing your clothes in cold water, if you use a detergent that is made for that, can save up to, or can save up to 500 pounds of carbon dioxide every year. So make a difference to the planet if you can, and think about that. All right, think about, do you wash in cold water? Um, the other thing I wanted to say is if you are using powder detergent, please buy it in cardboard rather than plastic. That helps reduce your carbon footprint as well. I buy mine by the box, and I find that, having it in cardboard, when it's finished, I can just break it up and put it in my composter, and I don't waste it. Quite honestly, those cardboard boxes that the detergent comes in are very useful containers in my life. All right, Jeannie's saying she cooked. Jeannie is our resident cook along with Jody. All right, cooked linguine. Gosh, easy for me to say. With kielbasa, served with a green salad. Oh, and gave it away to her dog's groomer. That's wonderful. Jeannie also said a friend visited with healthy dog treats for her dog, for Misty, approved by our vet. Yes, do any of you make your own dog treats? I wonder. I know that when I had a dog or dogs, I like to make my own dog treats. Jody, you and I did that same action at the same time. All right, so there we go. Now, here's another thing that I really would encourage you all to do at least for a month. And this is talking about making a difference to the environment. One of the major game changers in my life has been that I keep my plastic. Hang on a second. Let me show you. Sometimes it's easier to show you. Where I keep my recycling and stuff, I also have a bag into which I put all my plastic, that single-use type plastic, and my packaging material from Amazon. So the reason why I wanted to talk about it is I am amazed how much of my garbage is actually this stuff. All right. And what I do is I keep it in this big bag because it's always far more. I find that I don't know about you guys. Let me ask you, how many bags of garbage do you put out every week, every 2 weeks, every month? I was amazed to find out that since I have been doing that, I have been able to only put my garbage bin, the one with actual garbage in it, out every month, once a month, instead of once every 2 weeks. And the reason is because I put my real garbage in first, and then I top it up with the plastic. And because the real garbage, that's the important stuff, goes out first. Now, when you say a bag of garbage, Jody, what size bag? All right, so where have I got a bag here? Oh yeah, I do. All right. I know this sounds strange. I found that I probably put out 2 to 3 bags like this of garbage every month. Why? All right. Because I have a composter. So all my non-fat, non-bone, non-meat scraps from the kitchen, anything that's not meat and oil, goes into my composter. So that's half the garbage gone. Plus, I put a lot of paper and cardboard into my composter. All right. And so I feel pretty good that I managed to put in 2 to 3 bags like this into my garbage bin every month. Let's say it's every 2 weeks. So 6 bags like this every month. All right. Yes, that's a really great idea. Jeannie's saying that her husband York uses a trash compactor, which is really very useful. But I must say that we have very good garbage control here. We have, by the way, I have a compost bin if I need to use it, a big one that I can put out every single week. I have recycling that I can put out every single week. The garbage only goes every other week. And now I've got it down to that I can put it out just once a month. For example, it was a really bad day yesterday. I was meant to put the garbage out, and I'm going, why would I fight this now? My garbage bin is not full, even after Christmas. And I certainly have got a lot more room in here to keep more plastic if I want to. So make a difference. Start being aware of how much plastic you are putting into your garbage. And remember, plastic takes forever to break down. I think it's 50 years or something. Jody will let us know. It's a long time. I know that. So think about that. Now, I'm just talking about washing powder. I did a great, I like to discuss the feeling of achievement I get from doing a good shopping score. Let me see if I can just show you this. I thought this was a great. So if any of you did a good deal shopping this week, let me know what it is. Hang on a second. Let me get that picture up. There we go. I use this particular Tide, high efficiency Tide. This is Canadian dollars. It's normally $24.99. It was on sale this week for $19.99. How many of you are going $5 off my washing powder? That was worth it. So I was very happy with it. And again, remember it comes in cardboard. And after I finished with it, I take the top off it. The container is a really good container for corralling stuff. So remember, if possible, buy your washing powder, in cardboard if you possibly can. And I know that how many of you use the washing pods? If you think about it, the pods are wrapped in plastic and they are in a plastic container normally. So think about that, all right? Whether you really need it. And always remember that one of my hacks of the last year was I no longer, unless I put really dirty, dark clothes into the wash, which I don't. I'm not out there. Oh, if I've been out in the garden and I've got mud all over my clothes, yeah, maybe I will do it differently. But quite honestly, I only put washing powder into my whitewash. And then I put in about a quarter of a cup. And I only put it in my whitewash. I don't put it in my dark wash. And I want to tell you, boy, what surprised me is that I think you'll agree. Yeah, my clothes come out just as clean. Why? We know that clothes hold on to soap. And so therefore, it is, amazing that if every other load, if you do your dark load without washing powder, it will help keep your washing machine more clean. All right, Jeannie's asking me a question I always get when I wear this. She said, are you wearing a top with a wide top or is it a separate scarf? It looks terrific. Thank you. Yeah, you guys always remark on it when I wear it. It is, I think it's called a snook. Jody always tells me. So it is attached. And also if I'm outside, if I wanted to, I can snood. Is it a snood? Come on, Jody. Help me out here. I know that she whenever I've worn it, she's told me what it's called. But you know something, it's one of those things that you're not meant to say, but um, it I've had it for the longest time, and it never seems to go out of fashion. All right. And I think you know that I rebought a red cardigan this year because I couldn't find my other one. And this one is a longer one than my other one. It goes down to almost to my knees. And that's a very slimming uh, look for anybody. Okay, Jodie's going to restart her um, system, so she'll be away for a while, and then she'll let me know. Or somebody, maybe Jeannie, could you look it up to me? Is this called a snood? Snood, I think, or it's something that sounds like that anyway. A scarf that is attached. My brain just is way too old to remember these things. Oh, that's my excuse, right? It's not true. Um, Napoleon Hill, who some of you will know as great motivator, said first comes thought, all right? Then organization of that thought into an idea and plans, and then transformation of those plans into reality. The beginning, as you will observe, is in your imagination. So what is it that you have imagined you would like to do um, this year? And I want to, in a moment, tell you about something that I've been imagined, been planning, and now am in the process of actually getting started on something that's taken me a long time. However, I did want to mention that we're into a new season. Now, it's winter for us if we are where we are. For Lauren and the rest of the people in the Southern Hemisphere, you are in summer now. And I think you all know that I have certain tasks that I do seasonally or on certain seasons. And one of the things I always do is at the start of a new season, I look at my bras, and I go, do I need any new bras for the summer? In other words, I will look at the next major season, right? Spring, summer, that sort of season. Do I need white? I will buy white or neutral in those for those months, and then I will buy gray or black for the winter. So I have to tell you that I looked at this, that feeling when you're looking at your white bras and going, yeah, they don't look so white anymore, which is nothing wrong with it. They still work. And so what I've done is I've actually bought a neutral sort of color that ready for an extra one for the summer. And now I have started to buy fitness type bras because I really am finding that I don't want to be wearing the underwires anymore. So as I replace all my bras, I will move away from that. The trick is to find one that is really comfortable. Seasonal as well. I have a ice maker over there. You can't see it. It's just right there. I have an external ice maker. I don't have one in my fridge, so I bought one. And what I try to do is every season, I feel great when I take it and empty it, clean it out with vinegar, run it through with clean water for many times as it takes. I normally spend all day doing it, just in every time I go into the kitchen, I do the next step until by the end of the day, the thing is completely cleaned out, sanitized, and then clean again. And that makes me feel good. I also this week did my Keurig coffee maker. I emptied it, put all the bits that I could into the top rack of my dishwasher, and then gave it a really good wash and sanitization. And then I put a new filter in it. I left out a step. Before I put it all into the dishwasher, I emptied out the water and put in about 2 cups of vinegar and let it sit for a little while. So I took the filter out, let it sit, and then I ran it through the system a couple of times. Then I put everything into the dishwasher once I got everything cleaned out inside, but with the vinegar. And then I ran it well, probably 6 or 7 times to get the vinegar out of it. And I now have a totally clean. And it's amazing the difference taste to your coffee when you've done that. So if you got a Keurig or a similar type coffee maker, make sure that seasonally you give it a clean. I just trying to think. I pull my mattress pad off every season and wash that. Maybe I should do that more often. How often do you do yours? Let me know. And the other thing is my one seasonal thing in my living room was to my fireplace has a slate um, hearth to it where I keep my copper and brass. And I took everything off there, gave it a really nice polish, and then took the copper and brass that stay on there and gave them a good clean with tomato ketchup. How come it took me a lifetime to find out that tomato ketchup works so well in cleaning things? I just don't know why that is. Hold on a second. We just got a note here from a viewer, and I just want to make sure that I know what she's trying to tell me in case it's for all of you. Just bear with me a second. It's from Liz, for those of you who know Liz. And she's saying she's working at the Humane Society, and she's about to tell me a cute and funny moment. When I get it, I will share it with you. I love it when the viewers, that we might not see every week, but what I love is that they know that we will care and that we will want to know about what they're up to. So here was the next thing. One of my goals for the year, as you know, was to be aware of the fact that loneliness is a self-inflicted wound. And if you remember, we did a program about that, which is if I'm lonely, it's because I'm not doing enough. Okay, hang on a second. Let me just read this first so that I get it right. Ah, how cute is that? All right, here you go. Take a breath, everybody. For those of you who know me and how I got onto YouTube, this is cute. It says, our reception is new, and I sent her a cute little GIF, a picture that happened to be one of the twins, Benji's twins, Benji and Judy's twins, giving a thumbs up, and she got so excited and said, "Oh, I used to watch them on YouTube." And apparently Liz said, oh, I did too. And I know Mama Sal. And she said that that's me, Mama Sal, you were so cool. And she said, just a cute little moment. Liz, thank you, with tears in my eyes. That is cute. I don't know why young people see me as cool. I always think to myself, I must look so old to a young person. But it is lovely that they do see me as cool. And I'll take it anytime I can get it. No doubt at all. All right, so here we go. So remember what I said. If you're feeling lonely, it's on you. All right, it's feeling. Loneliness is a feeling, and if it's a feeling, it's on you. And if it's on you, it means you can do something about it. And so what I would ask you to do is be aware, are you doing enough to stay connected? And I'm going to keep repeating this all year because it's one of my goals, to be more connected in a real way, meaningful way. And so my question to you is, what would you consider to be a meaningful way to stay connected with your friends? Think about that, all right? And what I've done is I've sort of really making an effort to really connect at a deeper level than I have before. this year, because I really do want to make sure not only that I stay connected, but that my friends know how much they mean to me. To me, that's really important. And so therefore, I don't know what behaviors you are changing this year to correct a feeling that you might have. But I've always said that I I've got to learn that I don't have to do everything for myself. All right. I'm now of an age where most of my friends that are younger would be willing to come and help me do things. And, quite honestly, that requires that I ask for help. They know that I am self sufficient. They know that I am somebody that, has always coped on her own. I've spent most of my life on my own, one way or another. I've been married a couple of times, but that didn't last long. So to me, they know that I'm pretty capable. Let's put it that way. So when I've decided that what I'm going to be is less capable in my, and allow people to help me more. And so what I'm going to do is to invite friends over, and just say, hey, I wonder if you could come over and help me do X, Y, and Z. I'll gladly cook you dinner. So I can get a little bit of help where I'm starting to need it now. I'm also trying to make sure, and I have it on my sort of follow-up system, that I contact my friends on at least a weekly, if not every other week basis. Now, obviously, some friends I talk to every day. Some I don't even need to talk to every day, if you know what I mean. I've always said that my relationship with Marnie is the greatest relationship, because we actually don't need to talk every day, but we have a very close relationship. And by the way, she is back from her trip. She went off to Palm Springs and she's home safely, so I'm pleased about that. Um, It was said that the distance is nothing. It is only the first step that is difficult. So for those of you who've got a New Year's plan of something, remember, what is it? A journey of 1,000 miles. You need to start with one step. All right. You can't do it if you don't start. And that's really, really important. I also am planning to do something really nice for my friends on a sort of ongoing basis. And when I think about them, not just um, not just write them a note, but do something nice for them, because I feel good when I do that. Jody's saying, I'd like to add something about connecting with friends, Sal. I mentioned how I was struggling with no sleep and intense nausea. And she said, and you, that's me, said to me, I pray for a better day for you tomorrow. That touched my soul, she said. I teared up. Well, it was true, I did. And then last night, I don't know how you slept last night, Jody, but I was up most of the night hoping that you were sleeping. Do you know what I mean? And the funny thing is, I don't feel tired. It was one of those nights. Every now and then, I have one of those nights where, it's quite often it's on a Thursday night, because half of my mind is concentrating on the broadcast and what I'm going to do, and I think that gets me sort of psyched up, and my mind doesn't want to shut down and go to sleep. So I hope that you had some sleep. I think I managed about 2 hours sleep, maybe 3 last night at the most, but I feel great. I have to say that. So I also am making a point to, if I can't see them face to face, that I see my friends on Zoom or something, some sort of, or on Facebook or something, that I actually see them, because what I miss so much is the body language. Oh, isn't that wonderful? Jody's saying, I could not love you more. I slept quite well. Yes, that's what it was the strangest thing. Jody, I think you might have heard me tell this story, but I can remember phoning up a friend of mine one day and saying, what on earth did you do to your left arm? And she said, what? And I said, what did you do to your left arm? And she said, how did you know that? And I said, I'm not sure, but what did you do? And she said, I was out doing something and I slipped in the snow, and I bruised my left arm. And she said, "How did you know that?" And I said, mine is hurting." And Jody, that was the point, that every time I woke up last night, or I was praying that you were asleep. That it was that I was taking your insomnia for you, and apparently it worked. So that's awesome. I feel even better now. um, all right, let me try. I do this. Did any of you have any other feelings this week that you want to discuss before I get on to my fun ones? Now, we did get a question from a viewer a couple of weeks ago about meeting new friends. And I thought that every broadcast I will try and add some pointers on that one for those of you who might need it. And maybe ask you guys, what is your favorite way of making new friends? Let me go back one. When did you last meet a new friend? Right? Not how many friends have you got and known them for ages. When did you last make a new friend? And I would have to say probably a year ago for me. That's interesting, isn't it? Jody's saying, this segment is brought to you by Kleenex. You are the best friend and cheerleader anyone could ever dream of. Oh, golly, Jody, don't do that to me. Not when I'm broadcasting. Well, something, I've always said that what you see in others is, who you are yourself. So think about that, all right? Is it not true that you are you're the best friend for your friends and the best cheerleader for them as well? Think about that and don't lie. So here's the first thing. I thought we'd have some questions when you meet somebody new. What normally is a problem is people don't ask enough questions. All right, so think about that. And so what I was going to do is just give you all sorts of questions that you can ask people. And perhaps you guys can answer the questions so we can get to know each other better. So here's the first one. You have a day off tomorrow from all your usual chores or whatever. What is your favorite way to spend a day off? Let's hear it from you guys. I want to feel closer to you so I know you better. So answer that one. What do you like to do when you give yourself a day off? While you're typing, I normally give myself a day off on Saturday after the broadcast, doing 2 broadcasts on Friday. And then I do another sort of day off type day on a Monday after the broadcast on Sunday. So just so you know, those are my days off for me. And what am I inclined to do? I am inclined to do not a whole lot because I am normally very tired after the second Friday broadcast. And so I go to bed late and I allow myself to sleep as long as I want to on a Saturday. So part of my what I like to do on my day off is sleep. And then I also like to create. I think you all know that. So I spend some time creating. And of course, the other thing is I play games. And I've got a new game that I'm playing that is really challenging my mind in a fun way. And that's I really love that. I love that it's challenging it in a fun way. So it's good. So anybody else on that one? How do you like to spend your day off? All right, Jody's saying A fantastic question, right? My day would involve watching a favorite movie, reading a little bit, going for coffee with a friend, uh, and a stop at the beach. That's a full day. Yeah. So I don't even want to talk to you about the beach anymore. No, actually, that's not true. That's not true. Um, Now, the reason I'm giving Jodie a hard time is that she's been talking to me about going to the beach for as long as I've known her. She's an hour away from the beach and still hasn't been, to the best of my knowledge. So, Jodie, and you're going to keep hearing this from me. All right, now, Jodie, I know the answer to this one, but for the rest of you and Jodie, all right, what is your favorite type of music? All right, that's a good question to ask anybody. What is your favorite type of music? Is it rock? Is it country? Is it jazz? Is it opera? Is it, what is your favorite genre even? And I actually have to smile on that one because I realize I really like ballads. One of my joys is to go and get onto my air glider. I've got an air glider exerciser, and I get on there and I play, ballads from the 60s, 50s and 60s, because I'm that old. Right, Jodie's saying the 80s are her favorite. Now I know it's uh, Duran Duran is big favorite of Jodie's. So think about that. What's your favorite music? And it's a good question to ask anybody because everybody has, some preferences. And remember that it's really important to ask that question of people who are getting older. One of the things, I'm just trying to keep my pants up here. So when you think about it, one of the greatest joys I had, you remember Benji very kindly took me to Hawaii because I had never been, and it was on my bucket list. But the fun really, I mean, that was just mind blowing in itself. But he actually had, the Magnum red Ferrari, and we drove, up island. But that wasn't all. He actually had pre-recorded um, a couple of discs of music from the 60s. So all the way driving up the island and back down again, I was busy in an open Ferrari, red Ferrari, singing away, out of tune, at the top of my lungs. It was just, when we weren't chatting. And, it was like everything from it just, I'm thinking of Neil Diamond and the Beatles and, to the Stones and, the whole lot. I mean, it was just amazing. And of course, if you grew up with the music at that certain time in your life, the words to all those songs. And that's what amazed me. And I've done a bit of research on it since then, and I found out it's the very last thing to go. If you have a problem cognitively, the last thing to go is your music center. So people who cannot talk properly, maybe, or remember properly in terms of Alzheimer's or something, they can still remember music. And so remember that if you've got anybody in your life that is, slightly that has dementia or anything like that, remember they can remember the music. So take that. It's one of the things I was talking to Benji and about that, and he was, he really took that to his grandmother, and it was she had the same reaction as I did, and I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not losing my mind yet, but you just don't forget the music. So it's a great present, by the way. If for example, that somebody's favorite music is from the 80s, maybe put together a compilation for them. Yeah. So think about that. Yeah, one of the things I always said to Benji when he was very young, when he was still in his teens, because one of the things that we talked about a lot was romance, what I considered to be romantic. And one of the things I mentioned was, that my brother had a number of tapes. In those days it was 8-track probably, but he had a number of tapes that he'd pre-recorded with all his favorite ballads and whatever. And he had certain tapes that he would play if he brought a date home, with Sinatra or guys like that, Dean Martin type stuff, right? And then he'd have other ones that he'd play for other situations. So he really, worked hard at compiling stuff. And now, the wonderful thing is we have all of that on the internet. So we don't need to work hard. We just need to be able to type it in. Here's the next question you might want to ask somebody. And how about you answer it for me so that we can connect with that? What is the best vacation you ever took and why? Huh. Now, it is interesting because whenever I think about the best vacation I ever took, two trips come to my mind. And I don't know why those two in particular. One was a trip, the first trip I did to Mauritius, the island in the Indian Ocean. And I went to the Club Med in Mauritius many, many years ago. And I always remember that trip. It was, white beaches, and they had, at 5 o'clock, you grabbed a drink, or maybe it was later than that now I think about it. But anyway, you grabbed a drink and you went down to the beach and you sat in the water on the beach, with your drink balanced on one of your knees, and they would play classical music, full blast, over the ocean as the sun set. And I want to tell you that memory, life is about memories, that memory has stuck in my mind for a lifetime. All right. Um, it is really amazing how that is. Then the second was a beach um, in on Andros Island, Andross, I think, or one S maybe. Andros Island in the Caribbean, which had a beach to it that looked like it went on forever. And all along the beach there were hammocks. It was the bar at this hotel. This hotel was literally a bunkhouse with sort of about 10 villas attached to it, rustic villas. And it was, I seem to remember they had water beds, but it was very exclusive. This is the funny thing. The actual accommodation wasn't exclusive, but the people who went there were, you and I got to go there. But it was like you wouldn't be surprised to meet a prime minister or something there. You know what I mean? It was just like one of those places that was so well protected that you had to sort of be somebody to get there. And and it's amazing. I got there. But what I remember is the bar was actually in the water. So to go to the bar, you actually waded through the water to get to the bar, and you could choose to just literally be, quite deep in water and stand at the bar, or you could get up on the bar stool, which was in the water, and enjoy that. And it had a big, grass umbrella to it and everything. But here's the funny thing: no barman. What you did, it was an honor system. When you wanted a drink, you went up to the bar and you just wrote a chit and put it in like a post box. And then, every day they collected the chits and added them to your account. Amazing. I always remember that. And going back to the Mauritius thing, they had, um, what do you call those things? One of those slides that you go down, but it was from the top, top of one of the buildings, and then you landed in the pool. It was great fun. Yeah. What do you call those things? The wire one. You know what I mean, don't you? You hang on. Yep. Anyway, you prayed that you let go soon enough so you didn't hit the concrete at the end. Oh, and then the other memory, of course, of the Club Med is they used to have the funniest people work there. You'd be busy at the huge, magnificent buffet that they put up every evening. Just amazing food. And, you'd be busy, you know, looking at this incredible mermaid that they'd made out of fruit and stuff. And you'd be helping yourself to fruit, and suddenly the mermaid would move. Why? It was human. And they covered it with fruit. And scare the living daylights out of you. Or you'd be lying on the beach, absolutely sweltering with heat, and suddenly you you'd find one of the geos come down, and they'd be holding a tennis racket like a rifle, and dressed in deerstalker hat and a big woolly coat, and going down, going, "Where are the bears? Where are the bears?" It's just so amazing. They worked really hard at being the entertainment, and then of course you ended up being the entertainment yourself. That's another memory I had. Yeah. All right. So best vacation. So let me see. Jody's saying, I'd hesitate to mention this subject again, but my favorite vacation was the beach in Maine for a week. Yep, of course. Are you getting the message yet? Hi, Linda. Good to see you. For those of you who don't know, Linda is from the UK, and she's been a viewer for the longest time. And she's saying, I think my best holiday or vacation, as they call it, or we call it, is the one where we were planning if you're in a camper. Just jump in and go. Yeah, that's interesting, Linda, because, I have great memories of camping as well. I had a trailer, as you know. Hi, Gary. Good to meet you. Am I based in the UK? No, I am based in southern British Columbia, but I don't think I'm ever going to get rid of my English accent, Gary. It's been in my mind for a long time. So I do have English roots, obviously. And, a lot of people have said to me, how did you get that accent? And I said, it requires that you travel a great deal. I was born in Holland of British parents. I grew up in England. I spent 17 years in Africa, and then came to Canada in 86, I think. So I've been here quite a while. So that's where the strange accent comes from, but I know that you will all hear the Brit in there. All right, so, and here's question number 4. How do you feel about this question? Where is the next place you'd like to travel to or is on your bucket list, and why? So another good question to ask somebody. Wow, Gary said, I can't stand British people, but Canadians are all right. That's very kind of you. There's part of me, Gary, do you have a sense of humor? I haven't known you long enough to know whether that's true or not. Because, I'd love to answer you, but I won't do it unless you've got a sense of humor. The comedian in me, automatically comes up with a line that follows that. And so I have to learn to shut my lips before those words come out of my mouth. It's interesting that you would not like a whole country of people. Now, you must have good reason. So tell us, what is it about the Brits that you don't like, that you don't like anybody, that you can't stand the Brits? And he's saying, where would I go on vacation? Anywhere but England. Yeah. See, so isn't that interesting? Something must have happened in your life that Did you go and were you badly treated? There's got to be a reason for that, Gary, so let us know. So, Gary, where would you like to go? That is the question. Where's the next place on your bucket list, and why would you like to go there? I am so fortunate, that I've traveled so much that my travel needs are very few and far between these days. But I was thinking that this year I definitely do need to go on a trip. Linda's saying that her next trip she'd like to go to Stonehenge. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, that's that bit of in Cornwall, right? I think it's in Cornwall, where the stone statues are, the sort of like giant things in a circle. I think you've all seen the pictures of Stonehenge. Yeah, Jodie's saying, I dream of visiting England. I love everything about it. Yeah, Jodie, and visit the beach down the road first, honey. I need you to get that travel thing out of your off your to-do list this year, please. Gary's saying, I would love to travel to Tokyo, Japan. It seems like a perfect hybrid of a futuristic society while being grounded in traditional roots. Yep, that would be true. That, it's a very nice blend of past and future. And their culture is very interesting, I think. Um, and it's interesting to me. I have been, but not for very long. I sort of saw it in passing rather than anything else. But as you know, Benji has Japanese roots, and so it's nice for me to be able to learn more about the culture from him. And I try to make sure that when we are together, that I do ask him each time a little bit more about the culture, because it teaches me a lot. How many of you agree with this one? That discontent is the first necessity of progress. Oh, Jodie's reminding me that, of course, Stonehenge is in Wiltshire, not in Cornwall. Why did I think it was in Cornwall? Getting old. What I understand, I think a lot of people, especially from North America, would be quite claustrophobic in Japan. The size of their apartments are just, it's like a closet, you know. A whole apartment probably would fit into my kitchen. So, you need to be prepared for that. You also need to be prepared how easy it is to offend the Japanese, because we are quite rude. I'm a Canadian, so, but we are quite rude by comparison. Yeah, Gary's saying uh, about discontent is the first necessity of progress, saying, I agree. It's nice to hear that, Gary. Thank you. Um, uh, but even if you don't, I still believe it. Edison said it, by the way, Gary, in case you're interested. You only want to change and make progress when you are deeply unhappy about something. And I'm going to be talking about that in a second. So let's get on to that. The last question for this week is, if you want to get somebody talking about themselves, ask them what their hobbies are. What are your hobbies and how did you get into doing them? Well, as you know, my hobby used to be art. And how did I get into doing them? I retired. Then I got into my die cutting machine and making stuff. Hang on a second. Some of you have seen this, but I make my own Christmas cards like this, which is this one of this year's. I did 2 different Christmas cards this year, That gives me, it is incredibly time consuming to do. And it's much cheaper to go into the store and go and buy a card. But the reaction I get, well worth it. I love it. So that's a big hobby for me. So let's hear. Oh, interesting. Gary's saying my hobby is cooking. I like to make creative dishes for my wife. Currently, I'm working on a cookbook with recipes involving, yeah, the bodily fluids, really. Um, that sounds like a troll to me, but I hope it's not. Something though, it's interesting because quite a few of my viewers are into cooking as well. Under the title of Feeling Informed, did you know that Amazon was actually going to be called something completely different? And I found this interesting. It was originally going to be called Cadabra, as in abracadabra. And the reason it wasn't kept, that's what Bezos wanted to call it, Cadabra, abracadabra, was because apparently a lot of people, when they heard the name over the phone, thought it was cadaver, as in a dead body. And that's when they decided to change the name, and he decided on Amazon, being the world's biggest river, that constantly flows. So I thought that was interesting. I also wonder, feeling informed, how about this one? Where do you think the world's largest waterfall is? Now, this surprised me enough that I put it in for this broadcast because I was doing some surfing to find something else out. And the funny thing is that I found this thing about the world's. Yeah, Gary's saying Niagara, but I would have said there's one in South America that I think is the highest one on land. But did you know that the highest, the largest waterfall actually is under the ocean? I didn't know that. So here I'm going to quote here. It said the world's largest waterfall lies beneath the Denmark Strait, which separates Iceland and Greenland. Okay. And at the bottom of that strait are a series of cataracts that begin 2,000 feet under the strait's surface and then plunge to a depth of 10,000 feet at the southern tip of Greenland. That's nearly a 2-mile drop. Yikes. How about that? So I learned something new this week. How about you? The other thing I learned this week talking about global warming was apparently the Thwaites slab of ice in the Antarctic is, it's called the doomsday scenario. It is actually beginning to break up. And if it does break, and if it does get released from the mass of ice, they reckon some sea levels could rise by 25% and flood communities of millions living in coastal things. They think it could release within the next 5 years. How about that one? Pretty amazing, isn't it? And that also, once that breaks up, it could release a lot more. And so, if you live in a coastal area or in a low-lying area, be aware. It might be a time to buy a house higher up. Feelings of achievement. Did any of you have any feelings of achievement this week? Oh, Linda's saying she got out of the habit of hobbies. No, I must admit that I do. I love to have a hobby. Gardening is a hobby of mine. Oh, by the way, one of my hobbies, nurturing seedlings that will never make it to the garden. except for one or two, and then the bunny rabbits think it's their private deli. And I now no longer say I'm a gardener. I now say I raise seedlings so the bunny rabbits can eat them. Yep. I thought I'd do something new this year. Hang on. I thought I'd keep an achievement binder. And the things that really please me that I do, I'm going to keep in. For example, remember that salad that I made to go to a potluck, this one? All right. That not only pleased me, but it pleased the people that I took it to. How many of you like that one I showed you last week with a before and after? This was my wire farm next to my toaster oven here before, and then I thought I'd have a series of before and after ones, and then this is my solution to it. I got a couple of cubies either side of my toaster oven. By the way, talking about toaster ovens, the caloric made its way back, so it should be replaced pretty soon. So my workhorse that's been with me for a long time is about to change. Now, here's the new one. This is my laundry room. This was when I had the fire. For some reason, this was the one area they didn't repaint. They repainted the whole of the house. Not joking. The whole of the house was repainted except for this wall of cupboards. Now you can probably see that it's duck blue, which is, it's very old. You probably can't see it, but those knobs are all sort of very old antique brass. Don't like that very much either. So I've had that on my list for nearly a year now, because that's when I got back, right in March, at the end of March. So what I thought I would ask you, let me keep that up for a while. All right, first thing is, remember the new beginnings, which is first I took the picture so that I would know what is it I'm trying to achieve. Now, when you see this, how would you upgrade it? First of all, this is an old washboard. Would you get rid of it or keep it? All right. I noticed that I have got a couple of aprons. That's my DearMamaSal apron there. And I was thinking I need a better place to keep my aprons. All right. And I definitely wanted to get rid of the duck blue because my house doesn't have that color in it. So I spent the year looking at it and going, okay, what do I want to do? And here's what I've decided. I'm going to take all the cupboards doors off. That means I'm going to need new hinges because these are painted over in duck blue. So I've got to get rid of all the hinges. I need to have new knobs to bring it into more modern. All right. I'm going to need more paint. And by the way, the paint inside the cupboards was not well done. It was obviously slapped on there when they resold it. So I need to get inside there. Now, doing all of that, I also achieved another goal, because in order to do that, I would need to empty every single cupboard and reorganize everything in there. So that's a big task. And I said, if you remember, that was something I wanted to do in the winter. Well, winter is no longer coming, it's here. So I'm very excited because I spent a lot of time thinking about what I want to do. And now I have to tell you that this week I am ordering up the paint, the hinges, and the knobs. Now you're wondering, why did I only do it now? Well, I knew that for the last couple of seasons, I was preparing for Christmas, right? I spent my extra money on getting Christmas presents and making stuff for Christmas and so forth. So now I'm ready for my next task. And that's what it's going to be. Can you see, remember that quote? You got to start with the vision. So what do you want to do? I've decided I want to paint the whole thing just clean, bright white. It's a very small room, my laundry room. The appliances are white. And then I could, if I wanted to put color in there, I could hang some of my artwork in there on those doors. That's what I thought, on command hooks or something. I also thought I could use some of those doors to hang things on. All right. For example, what if I got a little baby coat hook type thing that goes over the cupboard door and use it and hang my aprons in there, like they're meant to be there. So it's been quite a work in progress, and I'm sort of nearly there. And this week I will press the button and get, or I've got it all in my shopping list. Now I've just got to press the button and get it all delivered. So that's quite exciting. So can you believe that took me some time to think about and go, okay. The other thing was, any idea how much that would cost to take that all away, repaint it all and do everything like that? All right. Gary's asking me, am I related to Joe? I don't know Joe. I mean, I don't know which Joe. There must be a lot of Joes in the world. So, not that I'm aware of. Okay, so that was one of the things I achieved this week. The other thing I achieved this week is hang on a second. I really have got into the habit of being able to make pita bread and flatbreads. And the way that I eventually realized I needed to do it, this was another thing I did. I had my fancy plates in here, and this week I moved those to down below at the back behind me, and here I put the gadgets that I use a lot. Nigel the Ninja is in here, my big mixing bowls are in here, and the other thing is my pasta maker. But I'm now using my pasta making every day to make pita breads and chips for myself. And the interesting thing is, this is all part of my portion control. I allow myself bread every day, all right? I allow myself the equivalent of a bun every day. How I use it is up to me, all right? And I found that if I use this and use it with my pasta maker, I can roll it out and make 2 pita breads that I can put salad and stuff in. And I can also make chips that I can have with cream cheese or whatever. So I just wanted to know if you guys want to see me do that with a pasta maker. So if so, I'll do it tonight. Jeannie's saying, how much will that cost to redo my that wall? Jeannie, the paint will cost me $30, I think. The rest of it is just my time. Oh, wait a minute. No, the paint, the hinges and the knobs, under $100. So is that a really nice project to do for very little cost? All right. And so my question to you is, what is your project for this season? Do you have one? Okay, so Jodi's saying she would like to see the pasta machine in. I quite honestly was surprised what I could make from just a little bit of dough. So I now make dough and I make it, put it into what I call Give Us This Day Our Daily Bread. I put it into, I am allowed to have this much bread. Quite honestly, this normally is enough bread for a few days for me, as you will see, if I roll it out the way that I am going to. So I will do that. The other thing is I love opening them up and then, putting stuff in. Um, it's just amazing. Jody's saying, I enjoy your experiments. I always get inspired. Well, we'll do a little bit on that tonight so you can see. The other thing is, why have a pasta machine if you're not going to use it? So the choice was, do I want it out of my kitchen or not? All right. And I decided, no, I want to use it more. I want to make more little cookies, healthy cookies, and more things like flatbread. So that was a great feeling of achievement. Did any of you get any achievement this week? If so, type away. The next subject I want to talk about was, you all know I've been trying to get my booster shot. And what happened was that it's getting warm in here. What happened was that the first time I had it, I was meant to go, I ended up with, what did I have? A migraine, all right? And the second time, there was too much snow. So I couldn't drive. And so then what I did was I had it booked for Tuesday. So on Tuesday, I went off and drove half an hour to where the site was where I had to go and get the booster. And when I got there, masked up and everything else, somewhere I'd never been before, so that was a new experiment. By the way, it was considered get out of the house for half an hour. This is good, fresh air while I'm driving, so forth. So this is good. So I get there and I look at the person and I said, I'm here for my booster. She said, no, you're not. And I said, well, actually, yes, I am. And she said, no, you're not. Not today. So being who I am, I took my phone and I scrolled to where I knew I'd got a picture of the confirmation. And I said, I think so. And she said, what date is it? And I realized I was a day early. How would you feel if you had planned the whole day around going to get your booster, and when you got there, you found out you were a day early? Now, the reason I want to talk about that is because I think this is all to do with emotional intelligence, and it's all to do with mental health. I did a double take, and I looked at it, and I looked at the person, and I said, so you know how I feel right now? She said, uh-huh. And I said, the good news is I know exactly where I'm going tomorrow. You see, try and look for the lemonade when you get lemons, all right? Try and turn it around and make it. All I did was a recce route to find out how to get to where I needed to go. And I knew exactly how much parking there was. And I felt quite good. Now, I did even better than that. Because I knew I was going to that part of town, if you like, I also said, what else is in that part of town that I might want to do on the way home? And the truth was, my recycling depot was there. So I loaded up the car with a season's worth of recycling. And, I keep my electronics and styrofoam and stuff like that in one of those big bags. I buy a big bag from the dollar store, really big bag. It's like this big. All right. And so I had that in the back of my car. So when I realized I couldn't get my booster shot, I just went, okay, reroute. And it turned out that the recycling place was just literally 5 minutes away. I went to the recycling place, got that off my list for the week, of things I wanted to do, or for the season. So that's on my seasonal list, is to go to the recycling and take whatever I have. So I felt quite good. So by the time I went again on the Wednesday, I knew exactly where I was going. And it was good. I met some new people because, you chat to people in line. So that was fun. I had a good day. The question most people ask, what did I have? 1, 2, and 3. All my shots have been Pfizer. And did I have any after effects? I was a little groggy yesterday. I wouldn't say I was ill or felt sick. I was just a little blah, more so than usual. So that was about the only thing. And I felt a little queasy, a little bit of a headache, not much. So I tried to make sure that I rested a lot and drank a lot of liquid yesterday. Maybe that was the reason I was up all night, Jody. All right, so Jody's saying if that happened to her, she said, I'd be annoyed for a few minutes, but would try to turn it into a positive. Treat yourself to a coffee or something. Yes, Jody, that's exactly it. Because the sooner you turn it around, I gave myself a huge pat on the back of already having a plan B in the car, which was if you can't get the booster, then go and deliver the recyclables. So I felt that it was, and the other thing was my car needed the battery topped up, right? It's winter. I got to run that car every week. So I took that as now that I know that the battery is well charged. It was a good run out there, another good run coming back. So I was happy that by Wednesday, attempt number 4 to get a booster shot. If you think about it, I've been booked 3 times and went one day or the wrong day. I got my booster. I'm done. So the other thing was, what do you think? Do you think that we will need more? I think we will. Yeah. And as I said to the people I was talking to in line, I will take as many booster shots as I need. Right? I'm of an age and of a history where I'm not going to even risk it. It's like, yeah, I'll take that. Now think about this. Do you understand the emotional intelligence of it? All right. If you are emotionally intelligent, you don't spend the whole day beating up on yourself for making a mistake. You go, oh, that's funny. If you can laugh at yourself, that is emotionally intelligent. Now, was it absolutely in plain sight, the day and the date? Yep. And for some reason, I had it wrong in my mind. Yeah, Jody is also saying that she agrees and probably be getting the flu shot every year. I want to tell you by the next flu shot, I think it will be in there. So next year I will be having a flu shot for sure. All right. All right. So do you get what I'm saying about emotional intelligence? If you are caught up in that you made a mistake and I must have looked so stupid or whatever. One of the things I learned in life a long time ago is that we all make mistakes. And even if I made one as a business person, I cannot tell you the number of calls I made to clients. And I would start off the call by going, John, I just have a question I need to ask you. And they go, okay, so what's that? And I said, have you ever made a mistake? I want to tell you that is the best introduction if you have to admit you've made one, all right, in a business sense or something. Because there isn't anybody alive that hasn't made a mistake. And most people will just groan as they remember theirs, all right? But the funny thing is, only one person reacted by saying, what mistake did you make that involves me? And I said, oh, it's a good one. Yeah, it's a really good one. Which is why I need you to think about the mistake you might have made before I start talking about it, so you'll have some compassion for me. And guess what? Because I approached it that way, he did. We are meant to keep focused for a new life, for new beginnings, for new experiences, and to use our abilities to move beyond all those that may serve as excuses to confine us to the now. All right, one of the things that you remember I said to you was, The difficulty about learning to do something like this is it took me a few years to get to be able to do this. Now that I can do this, can you understand that the next Christmas card I need to find is going to be probably one that expands my learning even more? But, the main thing is what it does to my brain. All right. It forces me to think, it forces me to accept mistakes. How many times did I get this one wrong? You know how much I wasted, right? Why go and buy a card for $5 at the store when I can spend $100 playing around trying to make it? It was all those things. But the good news was I got it done. Now, before I get too far ahead of this, I wanted to make sure we do the unboxings. Um, by the way, how many of you are thinking this is a good idea? To have an achievement binder so at the end of the year, you can remember the things that gave you pleasure. All right. So whenever you think that you're a loser or I haven't done anything, you can go, something, I made a difference in my own life. And if you remember, I am constantly trying to improve things in my house. All right. So you will remember that we had the power failure and I had those wonderful emergency lights that you can just screw the bottom in and suddenly you've got a light that is as good as my regular light in my light lamp. That was, a great addition. However, the other thing I knew was this time we had a power outage for 10 hours, which was way longer than I wanted. And I decided that, I nearly lost the battery in my phone and I definitely nearly ran out of batteries in one of my laptops. I forgot that I had a second one, so I could have carried on watching movies if I downloaded enough. And I do have an external hard drive, so when I know bad weather's coming in fact, what I'm going to do is to be prepared. I'm going to download a few movies onto my hard drive so that if we have a surprise power outage, I will have them stored on my external hard drive so that I can watch them in a power failure. I think I'm going to get a series on there, like Morse or Vera or something that's got, a whole lot of series to it. However, you will remember the last power thing when everything started to look like it was getting a bit sensitive and I needed to keep what little reserve I had of battery. I decided I wanted to get something to recharge, and I did. It wasn't cheap, I got to tell you that, but here's the thing. It will recharge my phone and my laptops multiple times. It is also possible. I've just got to work out whether I can make coffee with it. I think I can plug in my coffee maker. I'm just going to do a bit more research into that. Because how many of you going, that was a real, I do like my coffee, that. I'm also going to find out whether I can put my crepe maker into here. I don't think the crepe maker pulls very much power, so it's possible that it might. So I'm going to see what I can do. But it also has all sorts of sockets for USBs and so forth, and it has a 3-point AC and a 2-point AC plug. And isn't that nice and compact? Also, if I needed it, I could run my CPAC machine on it, mask on it. So I'm very happy with it. So it wasn't cheap, but on the other hand, do I need it? And the answer is yes. So I'm very happy with that. It was one of the Christmas presents I bought myself. However, drum roll, you will never guess what I found. What do you know I have been looking for since the day I moved back after the fire? Okay, any of you remember? I keep saying, I know it's got to be here. I just can't find it. We found it this week. Do any of you know what is in this box? I'll give you a clue. On the front of it, I wrote shake. It's the vanilla essence, you're right. For those of you who don't know, nearly a year and a half ago, I was making presents for Christmas before the pandemic hit and the fire hit. And I made homemade vanilla for my friends. So I am now going to be distributing the vanilla. Jody, I want to tell you, when I opened up, I decided this week that part of my, and I'm going to talk about that in a second, but part of my moving more was to go back and finish emptying those boxes that are in my back room. You know, I've only got probably 10 left, if that. And it's like, I could do that if I did a little every day. And I considered it part of my steps every day, then I could, clear that up and then turn that room into a studio and or a guest bedroom. And that's what I'm working on. That'll be the next project. So here they are. Now, the reason I couldn't find them is they weren't where I expected them to be. I had this in my craft area, and I unpacked everything for my craft area and didn't find it. So all the boxes that were meant to be in the craft area were unpacked, and I didn't find that box. I knew it was in a little box, and I knew it had the word shake on it to remind me to shake it. What I did was I found it with all my paint. And why on earth they thought it was paint, I'm not sure. No idea. But it's, there it is. I wish you could have been in my house when I found it. How many of you can imagine? It was like I have spent a year trying to find nearly a year trying to find that box. And there is part of me that goes, well, hang on to it, and then you can give it to everybody for next Christmas. I'm going, no. I'm going to go to my neighbors and tell them the story. This would have come to you for Christmas this year, except I couldn't find the box. I just did. So here's an extra present. And, I'm pretty certain that if you know me, you know just how excited I was to find it. It was just amazing. If I'd find $100 bill, I don't think I would have been more excited. All right. So now, in terms of health, how many are you feeling more healthy this year? Yeah, Jody's saying you must have done a double take. Like, really? Is that what it is? Yeah, it is. I knew that. Something, Jody? It was a box inside a box, and it was surrounded by paints. And I just saw that word shake, and I almost cried. I nearly cried. I was that happy to see it. So, by the way, you know that we've had about a foot of snow this week. And the snow angel. You remember I had that snow angel that used to come every day and clear my driveway? I said to Betty Ann, could you invite him back again, please? I'm going to need to go under my house and get my snowblower out because, this is ridiculous. Anyway. All right, now then. Anybody have a feeling of being more healthy? I've got a new routine. I'm quite surprised. It's working for me. I made a goal that January I wanted to do 6,000 steps a day. That's my goal, is to do a minimum of 6,000 steps a day for all of January, average, all right? And interesting. Jeannie's saying, I just had a physical and the doctor says I'm in good condition. Gave me another cortisone shot in my left hip. Well, that's owie, isn't it? There's something about cortisone shots that I just remember having one in my thumb, and it's like Boy, I got to be really keen to have another cortisone shot. Um, is it painful, Jeannie? I must say that I am very pleased to report, and I've been talking about this a couple of times, but the arthritis that I had in my left hip 2 years ago, because of the exercise I've been doing, I have to tell you that I can now. I still have arthritis in that hip, but I really have use of that hip, which is great. Um, so here's my new routine, all right, about the 6,000 steps a day. I've got this new system, which is, I get up late and I sort of dawdle around a bit. I go outside and get some fresh air, and then I come back in. And then I start thinking about, okay, now I need to get dressed, because I'll go outside wearing dirty clothes in case I'm doing dirty work. But, then I think, okay, now it's time for me to get up and get dressed and do stuff. And that's when I start thinking about the steps. And it's really quite funny. I found out that it's possible to do. I'm just going to see right now. All right, it is now nearly 2 o'clock, and I have only done 1,700 steps so far today. That tells you I haven't done much, right? My day hasn't started yet. It will start after the broadcast. And so, how do I get to 6,000 steps? Well, I've got this new system. Every time I go to the washroom, I cannot go back to the computer, right? Think about that, because, that's too easy. So what I say to myself, I cannot go back to the computer until I've been to every other room in the house. So I will start in the washroom, because that's where I am, and go, does it need a bit more tidying? Go to the bedroom. Does it need a bit more tidying? Does anything need to go out of this room? Then I will go to the studio where I'm unpacking boxes, remember? Then I will go to the craft room, which will probably be a work in progress for the rest of my life, trying to get that really organized. Then I will go to the laundry room. Do I need to put a wash in? Do I need to do this, that, and the other? Can I tidy something in those cupboards? Then I go to the kitchen, always a work in progress, my kitchen. And eventually, via the dining room, I will go back to where I'm sitting in the living room where my computer is. And I want to tell you, by doing that every time I go to the washroom, I can fit in 6,000 steps. Sometimes I need to get onto the air glider just to make up, maybe a couple of hundred, just for fun. But quite honestly, by keeping that routine every time I go to the washroom, I have been able to do that. So I thought I'd let you know. I also accidentally bought a whole bag of oranges and a bag of mandarins this week. Now, I didn't want to waste either of those. So this week I've been eating more healthily. I have been making, a mandarin orange drink every day. I just pulverize a couple of mandarin oranges with a real orange, because I got both, and strain it. And so I've really been having a lot of vitamin C, which I don't think is a bad thing at this time of the year, but I still got a cold. So to me, that was sort of like a really nice idea, and it worked. Tonight, just so that you know, I'm going to start doing some healthier snack ideas, which I thought all of us would probably like. Anything that we can do sort of like that are not too overloaded with calories. And I've got all sorts of options to do, but I just wanted to know, if you've got any snacks that you make or buy that are low cal and yet really tasty, let me know. Yes, Jeannie's saying we're eating plenty of fruit too. Cara oranges, green grapes, watermelon. I always have a bag of grapes every year. Every week I order a bag of grapes. what I've decided is that I've been making an orange carrot drink, but sometimes I take the orange carrot and turn it into a soup. And I just add spices to it and turn it into a soup. I take the pulp from the orange juice, and as you know, I put that into desserts. So it's all getting used up, and I'm definitely getting more citrus, which is I'm trying not to overdo the citrus, but every day now I'm making sure I have that. Now, I thought I saw something in when I was doing some research on the news this week, and this amazed me. You will remember the pandemic of 1918 that that we all heard about in the Spanish flu. Um, do you know that between World War One and the Spanish pandemic, the average life expectancy at that time fell from 51 to 39. Think about that. In 1918, the life expectancy was normally just 51. How many of you are surprised to hear that? But because of the war and of the Spanish flu, it dropped to a life expectancy of 39. I'm way past that date, right? So I thought that was mind blowing to me. And look at how far we have come in medicine that we can have a worldwide pandemic the way that we have. And, you know, I don't know about you. How many people have we seen pass this last week or so, that were in their hundreds or close to 100? And so look at that. We have doubled our life expectancy in a decade, basically. Not a decade, a century. Doubled our life expectancy. So if you think about it, children being born today, their life expectancy might be 150 plus, in which case get them saving for retirement early, people. Think about that. So I'm hoping that we will do some fun things for you all this evening. But before I go, I just did want to continue to make sure you understand whatever your goal is for this year, whatever your project is for this season, its beginning is a third of the work. If you think about it, I have spent a whole 6 months thinking about that room. What am I going to paint it with? How much paint will I need? Um, you know, I will need new hinges. I will need new doorknobs. Have I got the money? All right. Think about that. Sandy, is it worth rewatching the broadcast? There is the question. I think I would just ask the viewers to see if they found anything of value here. And if so, what section did you really enjoy? Um, so I want you to think about, start visioning what it is you want to change. As you know, that's what I do every season. I go through my house and go, or inside and out, and I go, what's the next thing I want to start working on? I don't try and change everything. Just what is the next thing? Now, without a doubt, I knew that the laundry room was going to be my next target. So you look at it and go, it's not a major thing to order the stuff. The major part of it is the fact that now, once that stuff arrives, I don't have any reason not to start it. How many of you can see that? And that's why I delayed getting this stuff until after Christmas. Now, question, would you take off all the cupboard doors and paint them, or would you systematically work your way down that whole bank of cupboards? All right, remembering that we've got to empty every cupboard and paint inside and do the doors as well. That's probably quite a lot of work in any one week. But if you think about it, if I'm organized, could I do one door a week quite easily? One cupboard a week, inside and out. All right, so Jeannie's saying she'd take all the cupboard doors off and just take everything out and just do the whole thing in one go. Well, I've decided I'm not going to do that this time. And the reason is because I think that I don't want to live with that much mess. If I do that, it means I've got a real mess showing all the time. So what I'm going to do is just take one cupboard apart and put the contents of it into a back room. And so I can work on that empty cupboard and it won't look too bad because it's a room that people see as they go past. That door is always open. So I've decided I'm just going to do it one cupboard at a time and give myself the space to do that. By the way, I'm really quite excited. Now, I'm not saying that doing it all at one time isn't a good idea. I think it is. If I could have it in a room where I closed the door and I didn't think anybody was going to see it, I would agree with you. But it's not something that I can do that way. That door is open all the time. So that's why I want to, I gave that a bit of thought. Do I really want to make that much mess? And also, the first cupboard that you see is the one that I really want to reorganize rather desperately. Now, the other thing is I still have my Christmas tree up and I still have my Christmas lights going. And now the interesting question I have is, I bought those big bins, those really big bins. So I filled one with Christmas stuff. And I've got most of the Christmas stuff still out because I've got Yvonne and Wade coming for Christmas dinner on the 15th because we had to keep delaying it. But I'm thinking, what if I pack my Christmas tree back into one of those big containers? In other words, it is now part of the containers that contain Christmas stuff rather than back into its own box. I think what I will do is pack everything away first to see how much room I have left in that second container. And if I have enough room to put the Christmas tree bits, because it comes apart in there, then I will. But I'm not going to get rid of the box until I'm totally sure that it will all fit in there. I cannot believe I've been downsizing from about, I'm not joking, I would think I have downsized about 6 different boxes that had bits of Christmas stuff in it and decided what I want to throw away and what I want to keep. And I have one big bin already of stuff that I want to keep. It's got Christmas bags. It's got Christmas ornaments that I didn't use this year. You know what I mean? It's got all sorts of stuff. They've still got room. So when I start putting my stuff away after the 15th, it'll be easy to do. Big challenge. And you're going, now what am I going to do with those big bins? I'm going to keep them here until Dougie comes to visit, probably, and then I'll get him to help me put them under the house. Those I definitely know can go under the house because I'm only going to need that stuff in there once a year. All right? It's not something I'm likely to want regularly. Anything that I think I might want regularly is going to stay in the back room, and the rest can go under the house. So I'm hoping that you found some interesting things and feelings that you explored, all right? Understand the patience I needed to wait for this to come about, all right? it took, I just had to let go of needing it for this Christmas. All right. I knew I would find it eventually, and I did. And now I will go around all my neighbors and go, I just want to tell you the story. Here's part of your Christmas present. I just found it. By the way, it is well aged. Right? How many of you can see that I want to have an achievement? Yeah, I found the vanilla, Sandy. Having an achievement binder, all right? Things that you do. Sandy, this is really important for you because you're so creative. But I literally am now going to have, print out pictures of improvements I've made. This is before and after stuff. So this is the before of my winter project. And then when we finish, I'll take another picture and put an after picture of it. So the other thing that I am doing, I have a box. I have a place where I unpack all my boxes, my Amazon boxes and everything. Okay. And behind me, I have a cubie. So as I unpack anything, and it's got a warranty or instructions or anything like that, I turn around and I literally don't have to look because I know exactly where that bin is. So I unpack it and I go, there's the instruction manual, and I immediately put it into this bin. I have just put away all the stuff that I collected during 2021. I've now started collecting 2022. And what I do is I also have another group of stuff that had to do with all the equipment that all the stuff that got bought, when the house got redone. And so what I will do next year is I will go through that bag and go, what do I still need to keep? Have I replaced something, in which case I don't need that instruction manual anymore or the guarantee on it or whatever. Making sense. And I just keep them all in a Ziploc and then just put it away for another year. And at the end of that second year, then I look to see, is it still working? Do I still need it? And funny enough, I was going through it and there were a couple of things that I've had for a long time. Just every year it keeps getting transferred back because I still use it. So it's in the archive stuff, but I still have got the instruction and the guarantee. I know that some of you keep all your guarantees in a binder. I'm not that organized because I want to keep the guarantee and the instruction stuff together, and sometimes the guarantee books are big, but So just another thought. Hope you enjoyed this. I did. This is DearMamaSal saying tonight we will play with the pasta maker, but we'll be making pita breads and things and some healthy snacks for meal prepping for this week. I look forward to doing that with you. So we'll talk to you then. This is DearMamaSal saying thank you so much for being here. Have a great afternoon. I might even have a little snooze. But first I'll be ready for the broadcast. Bye-bye for now. Thanks, Jody.